Lecture 2. The highest ideal of a cure.
Highest ideal of a cure. The subject this morning relates to cure, to what the nature of a cure is. It is stated in the second paragraph of the organon that the highest ideal of a cure is rapid, gentle and permanent restoration of the health, or removal and annihilation of the disease in its whole extent in the shortest, most reliable and most harmless way, an easy comprehensible principle. Cure center easily comprehensible principle. ఎటువంటి క్యూర్ చేస్తామంటే ఎలా అప్రోచ్ చేయాలో ఎలా క్యూర్ చేస్తామో ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయగలిగి ఉంటారు. అందరికీ అర్థమయ్యేలాగా అసలు కనీసం లాజికల్గా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయగలుగుతారు. ఈ తత్వం ఈ ప్రక్రియ చేస్తాం, దీంతో వచ్చేస్తాం, దేన్ని బేస్ చేస్తాం, ఏదో అనిపించినా మన చేసాం తగ్గింది. అది బయట if you were to ask a physician who had not been trained in homeopathy of what a cure consists, his mind would only revolve around the idea of the disappearance of the pathological state. If an investment on the skin was the given instance, the disappearance of the eruption from the skin under his treatment would be called a cure. If hemorrhoids, the removal of these would be called a cure. If constipation, the opening of the bowels would be called a cure. If some affection of the knee joint and amputation above the knee would be considered a cure, or if it was an acute disease and the patient did not die, it would be considered a cure. And that is really the idea of the patient as it is derived from the physician. The patient will often wonder at the greatest skill of the physician in removing the exertion from the skin, and will go back again when the graver manifestation, the tissue changes to threatening death have come on as a consequence, and will say to the doctor, "You so wonderfully cured me of my skin disease. Why can't you cure of my liver trouble?" But this very scientific ignorant doctor had made a very good. He has written what was upon the surface and harmless into the innermost refuse of the economy, and the patient is going to die as a result of scientific ignorance. There are three distinct points involved in this paragraph, and these must be brought out. Restoring the health and not the removing of symptoms is the first point. Restoring health has in view the establishment of order in a sick human being. Removing the symptoms has not in view a human being. Removing the constipation, the hemorrhoids, the white swelling of the knee, the skin disease, or any local manifestation or particular sign of disease, or even the removal of a group of symptoms does not have in view the restoration of the health of the whole economy of man. If the removal of symptoms is not followed by a restoration to health, it cannot be called a cure. పైన ఇబ్బంది కాదు, తప్పటి రిమూవ్ చేసిన యాంపరేట్ చేయడం. We learned in our last study that the sole duty of the physician is to heal the sick, and therefore it is not his duty merely to remove the symptoms, to change the aspect of these symptoms, the appearance of the disease imaging that he has thereby established order. What a simple-minded creature he must be. What a groveler in musk and fire he must be. Then he can meditate upon doing such things even a moment. How different his actions must be if we but considered that every violent change which he produces in the aspect of the disease aggravates the interior nature of the disease, aggravates the weakness of the man, and brings about an increase of the suffering within him. The patient should be able to realize by his feelings and continue to say that he is being restored to health whenever a symptom is removed. అంటే ఇట్లాగ ఎలా ఉందంటే బాగుందండి ఏది బాగుంది ఒకసారి వెంటనే ఒక్కో సంఘం తీసుకురాలంటే ఏ సంఘంలో రిలీఫ్ ఉండదు కానీ మనం చెప్తున్నది బాగుంది ఏ ఫీలింగ్ ఆఫ్ వెల్ బీయింగ్ అంటే there should be a corresponding inward improvement whenever an outward symptom has been caused to disappear, and this will be true whenever disease has been displaced by other. The perfection of a cure consists then first in restoring health, and this is to be done promptly, mildly and permanently, which is the second point. The cure must be quick or speedy, it must be gentle, and it must be continuous or permanent. Whenever an outward symptom has been caused to disappear by violence, as by a cathartic to remove constipation, it cannot be called mild or permanent, even if it is prompt. Whenever reaction can be permanent in the lecture. Whenever mild drugs are resorted to, there is nothing mild in the action or the reaction that must follow. At the time this second paragraph of the Ardhan was written, physicking was not so mild as at the present day. Bloodletting, sweating, etc. were in vogue at the time Haliman wrote these lines. ఎవరికైనా బీపీ పెరిగిందంటే వాడికి జలగ పట్టించుకోండి బ్లడ్ లాగేసి ఎవరికైనా సెప్టిక్ కండిషన్ వచ్చినట్టు ఏదైనా గుర్తుందంటే బరువుతున్న కాదు ఆ పార్ట్ నుంచి మూడు సెప్టిక్ అవుతుంది అలాంటి గ్రూప్ ఉండేదన్నమాట. Medicine has changed somewhat in its appearance. Physicians are now using sugar-coated pills and contriving to make medicines appear tasteless or tasteful. They are using concentrated alcohol. But none of these things have been done because of the discovery of many principles. Bloodletting and sweating were not abandoned on account of principles. All the old men deprecate their disuse and often say they hope the time will come when they can again go back to the dancing. అవి రిమూవ్ తీసేస్తా ఉంటే ఆ రోజు మళ్ళీ రావాలి అది ఆ ట్రీట్మెంట్ అనేది పోకూడదంట. But the drugs of today are 10 times more powerful than those formerly used because more concentrated. The cocaine, sulfonal and numerous other modern concentrated products of the manufacturing chemists are extremely dangerous and their real action and reaction unknown. The chemical discoveries of petroleum have opened a field of destruction to human intelligence, to the understanding and to the will, because these products are slowly and insidiously violent. Slowly and insidiously violent. You believe in that power? When drugs were used that were instantly dangerous and violent, the action was manifest, it showed upon the surface and the common people saw it. But the patient of the present day goes through more dangerous drug use because it destroys the mind. The apparent benefits produced by these drugs are never permanent. They may in some cases seem to be permanent, but then it is because upon the economy has been engrafted a new and most insidious disease, more sudden and more tenacious than the manifestations that was upon the externals, and it is because of this tenacity that the original symptoms remain erect. అది కనిపిస్తుంది పోయేదాకా. The disease in its nature, its essay, has not been changed. It is still there, causing the internal destruction of a man, but its manifestation has been changed, and there has been added to this natural disease a drug which is more serious than the first. The manner of cure can only be mild if it flows in the stream of natural direction, establishing order and thereby removing disease. The direction of old-fashioned medicine is like pulling a cat up a hill by the tail. Whereas that is mild, gentle and permanent, flows flows with the stream, scarcely producing a ripple. It adjusts to the internal disorder, and the outermost of man returns to earth. Everything becomes orderly from the interior. పైనుంచి కొండ నుంచి వాటర్ ఫ్లో అవుతుంటే ఎలా ఉంటుందో అదే అక్కడే రిటర్న్ చేసుకోవాలి. నేను వస్తున్న గ్రామం మొత్తం అంతా కొండకి అంతా కట్టుకుని మొత్తం అంతా క్లీన్ చేసుకున్నాను. ఎక్స్టీరియర్ కింద వస్తే అనేది క్లీన్ చేస్తుంది. అంటే పిల్లి ముచ్చుకుంటే లాస్ట్ ఉండకూడదు. The curative medicine does not act violently upon the economy but establishes its action in a mild manner. But while the action is mild and gentle, very often that which follows, what is the reaction, is a turmoil, especially when the work of traditional medicine is being undone and former states are being restored. The third point is upon principles that are at once plain and intelligible. This means law. It means fixed principle. It means a law as certain as that of gravitation, not backwards empiricism or roundabout method or a cut and dried use of drugs as laid down by the last manufacturer. Our principles have never changed. They have always been the same and will remain the same. To become acquainted with these principles and doctrines with fixed knowledge, with the exactitude or method, to become acquainted with medicines that never change their properties, and to become acquainted with their actions is the all-important aim in homeopathic study. When one has learned these principles and continues to practice them, they grow brighter and stronger. The use of these fixed principles is the removal of disease, the restoration of health in a mild, prompt and permanent manner. If one were to ask an allopathic graduate in this class how he could demonstrate that he had cured somebody, the answer could only be such as I have mentioned already, is that the patient did not die, or that the manifestations prescribed for had disappeared. If one were to ask a physician trained in homeopathic principles the same question, one would find that there are means of distinctly demonstrating why he knows his patient is better. You would naturally expect, if it is the interior of man that is regarded in sickness and not his tissues primarily, that the interior must first be turned into order and the exterior law. That the first of man is his voluntary and the second of man is his understanding. The last of man is his outermost, from his center to his circumference, to his organs, to his skin, nails, etc. This being true, the cure must proceed from center to circumference. From center to circumference is from above downward, from within outwards, from more important to less important organs, from the head to hands and feet. Every homeopathic practitioner who understands the art of healing knows that symptoms which go off in these directions remain away permanently. Moreover, he knows that the symptoms which disappear in the reverse order of their coming are removed permanently. It is thus he knows that the patient did not merely get well in spite of the treatment, but that he was cured by the action of the remedy. If a homeopathic physician goes to the bedside of a patient and, upon observing the onset of the symptoms and the course of the disease, sees that the symptoms do not follow this order after his remedy, he knows that he has had but little to do with the course of things. But if on the contrary he observes after the administration of his medicine that his symptoms take a reverse course, then he knows that his medicine has had to do with it because if the disease were allowed to run its course, such a result would not take place. The progression of chronic diseases is from the surface to center. All chronic diseases have their first manifestations upon the surface, and from that to the innermost of man. Now, in the proportion in which they are thrown back upon the surface, it is to be seen that the patient is recovering. Here it is that the turmoil spoken of above follows the true homeopathic remedy, and the ignorant do not desire their old outward symptoms to be brought back, even when it is known as the only possible form of cure. Complaints of the heart and chest and head must in recovery be accompanied by manifestations upon the surface, in the extremities, upon the skin, nails and hair. Hence you will find that these parts become diseased when patients are getting well. The hair falls out, or eruptions come on the skin. In cases of rheumatism of the heart, you find that the patient is recovering, but his knees become rheumatic and he may say, "Doctor, I could walk all over the house when you first came to me." But now I cannot walk, my joints are so swollen. If the doctor does not know that the means that means recovery, he will make a prescription that will drive the rheumatism away from the feet and knees, and it will go back to the heart, and the patient will die. And it need hardly be stated that the traditional doctor doesn't know of this, as he resorts to this pain plan as his regular and only plan of treatment, and in the most innocent way kills the patient. This is a simple illustration of how it is possible for the interiors of man to cease to be affected and the exteriors to become affected. It may be impossible for the man to be entirely cured. It may be impossible for this state to pass off, but that is the direction of its passing off, and there is no other course. If the patient is incurable, while the means used are mild, he may experience great suffering in the evolution of his disease in the course of his partial recovery. To him it may not appear mild, but the means that were used were mild. In acute diseases we do not observe so much distress after prescribing as we see in old incurable cases, in deep-seated chronic complaints that have existed a long time. The return of the outward manifestations upon the extremities are noticed in such cases where they have been suppressed. To illustrate, there are many patients who have had rheumatism in the hands and feet, in the wrists and knees and the elbows, who have been rubbed and stimulated with lotions and strong liniments, with chloroform, with evaporating lotion, with cooling applications, until the rheumatism of the extremities has disappeared to a great extent. But every physician knows that the disappearance of this rheumatism progresses cardiac symptoms are likely to occur. When this patient is prescribed for the rheumatism of the extremities must come back, or the heart will not be released. This is true of every condition that has been upon the extremities and driven in by local treatment. Just as surely as you live and observe the action of homeopathic remedies upon man, so surely will you see these symptoms come back. The patient will return and say, doctor, I have the same symptoms that I had when I was treated by Dr. So-and-so for rheumatism. This comes out in practice nearly every day. It requires a little explanation to the patient, and if he is intelligent enough to understand it, he will wait for the remedy to act. But the physician who thinks most of his pocketbook will say, if I do not give him a liniment to put on, that limb he will go off and get another physician. Like Monday also patient and now let me tell you, right here is the beginning of evil. You had better trust to the intelligence of humanity and trust that he will stay and be cured. If you have learned to prescribe for the patient even though he suffers, if you have learned what is right and do not do it, it is a violation of conscience. ఏది రైతో ఏది రానో మీకు లోపల తెలిసింది కూడా దాని సవరగా కరెక్ట్ అయినటువంటి పద్ధతులు లేకుండా మీరు వచ్చినట్టుగా చేస్తున్నట్టు లోపల అంతరాత్మ మీకు ఎంతవరకు వస్తున్నట్టుగా చూసుకోవాలి. ఆ అంతరాత్మ చెప్పేది వినకుండా నువ్వు ఎగ్గొట్టినట్టు లెక్క. This paragraph appears to man's integrity. Appeals to man's integrity. It is said in the last line on principles that are at once plain and intelligible. Just as soon as you leave out integrity and believe that a man can do just as he is just, you leave out everything that pertains to principle and you leave out the foundation of success. But when these principles are carried out, when a man has made himself thoroughly conversant with the materia medica and thoroughly intelligent in his application, then he is circumspect in his very intuitive life as to the carrying out of these principles, then he will lead himself into a use that is most delightful, because by such means he may cause diseases to disappear and may win the lasting friendship and the respect of a class of people worth working for. He has more than that, he has a clear conscience with all that belongs to it. He is living a life of innocence. When he lives such a life, he does not allow himself to wink at the notions that are carried out in families, as for example, how to prevent the production of offspring, how to avoid bearing children, how to separate man and wife by teaching them the nasty legal methods of avoiding the bringing forth of offspring. He meddling with these vices and the advocating of them will prevent the father and the mother from being cured of their chronic disease. Unless people lead an orderly life, they will not be cured of their chronic disease. And the real అదే మన ఆయుర్వేదంలో చెప్పినట్టుగా చేశారు. It is your duty as physicians to inculcate such principles among them that they may live an orderly life. అది మంచి ఇవ్వడానికి కాకుండా వాళ్ళ సరైనటువంటి లైఫ్ అంటే ఏమంటే తెలుసు, ఆ ప్రకారం జీవించేలాగా చూడటం అనేటువంటి కూడా మనం చేయాలి. The physician who does not know what order is ought not to be trusted. It is the duty of the physician then first to find out what is in man that is disorder, and then to restore him to health. And this return to health, which is a perfect cure, is to be accomplished by means that are mild, that are orderly, that flow gently like the life force itself, turning the internal of man into order with fixed principles as his guide and by the homeopathic remedy.